Midweek preview show, Premier League games coming up. The big one at the top with the top two, Manchester City versus Arsenal at the Etihad for this one. We also have a big game regarding top four where there has been a change, and we'll talk about the news regarding Tottenham Hotspur, who faced a battering on the weekend, but they have a game to bounce back with another new interim manager and Manchester United. Oh, what a big game that one is on Thursday as well. We've got so much to talk about involving the top and bottom. So, guys, let's get into it. Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to another Tariq Talks Premier League preview show. What a week, midweek set of fixtures we got here. Make sure you're doing your FPLs if you are into your FPL or you haven't quit already at this stage in the season. We are in crunch time. I'm thinking about my wild card. I'll talk about that as well later on, but I hope you're keeping good, people. What a weekend of football we had. Just started off on Friday. Arsenal, we spoke about that 3-3 draw against Southampton on Saturday. Go check out that stream. I'm sure we'll be touching upon that again tomorrow with the Arsenal show. But today, because there is so many games to talk about, we couldn't fit this in to the last preview show, so we're going to talk about it here right now and getting your predictions into the comment section right at the end, guys. But before we kick off, I just want to big up each and every one of you that's in the place. Ed is in here in the chat. He's not able to join us here tonight, but I hope you're all keeping good. My bro says the thumbnail is incredible. Thank you, man. I spent ages you'll see tomorrow's thumbnail for the Arsenal show, but I hope you're all good. Jacob says 2-1 Arsenal against Man City. I hope he's right. We all hope he's right. All of us Gooners here in the chat. Big up yourself, Red Devil Yannick. I'm sure you're delighted in an FA Cup final and in potentially getting the cup double, which is, what Liverpool got last season, and they were so. And imagine if you guys managed to get that. Yeah, Liverpool, yeah, you guys and Liverpool fans, it would be crazy. Big up yourself, G Staffy in the building. Hope you're keeping good. Her striker and her sharing the same name as her dog in Chuba Akpom got Championship Player of the Season. Big up yourself. Yeah, Edmund can't join us tonight. Big up yourself, Matt in the building. Hope you're keeping good. Thank you for tuning into the chat. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a good start to the week. And that goes for all of you as well, guys. Of course, Spurs versus Man United, two teams has not been playing good. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll definitely get into it. Good evening to yourself as well, my brother Luke. Hope you're keeping good and well. Go check him out on Across the Pond Sports Talk, where him and Moss have plenty of shows talking about football, ice hockey. They're both, you know what, Luke is he's got his knowledge up on all sports that he watches. We're trying to get him into basketball. He'll soon know more than me if we do get him on that end. But yeah, big up my bro Luke in here as well. 2 cups and top 4. It'd be a great season, but we'll talk about that as well. And Chuba, let's get into it now, guys, into the Premier League predictions and, well, the show, because there is plenty to talk about. And there's only one place that we can start with this week, and that is the clash at the top. If you guys don't know, if you're watching this for the first time, I am an Arsenal fan, but I like to try and think of myself as a non-biased football fan. Of course, I'm going to show a little bit of bias towards Arsenal, and you'll see that, of course, when we get into the predictions in this game. Arsenal away. Arsenal, let's talk about my side first, the away team, who did draw 3-3 against Southampton. An ultimately disappointing draw, but Arsenal showed plenty of character and fight and determination to drag a point at least out of this game. And maybe, certain decisions and things, when I say decisions, not refereeing decisions, mainly to do with our players' decision-making went our way and a little bit longer. And we've done this a little bit earlier, and our players' decision-making in terms of not making mistakes, Arsenal would have walked away with all 3 points. But of course, we didn't. And yeah, we disappointingly grabbed that draw. But this game, which we're moving on into, this easily has to be Arsenal's biggest game since Barcelona 2006. And that's not happy memories there. But in terms of the future and the history of this club, where it's been 20 years now, 20 seasons, it will be entering. 20 years it will be next season. And since we last won a Premier League title, since we last won a league title, Arsenal have a massive opportunity still in their hands, no matter what we feel like, and we feel dejected watching our side throws points away after having taken 2-goal leads in our previous 2 games before we played Southampton. And then in a home banker where many of us expected an Arsenal win, whether you're an Arsenal fan or not, Arsenal didn't manage to get the 3 points, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves for this game. But from an Arsenal perspective, this is where legends are made. We've been in these situations away from home in title deciding games. In fact, let's not forget the chant that Arsenal fans have been singing, and what was given birth this season is we won the league at Anfield. We won it at the Lane, Stamford Bridge, Old Trafford. No one can say the same. Can Arsenal potentially add the Etihad to their list, where they are facing the best team in the world right now, currently on form? The goals that they score, the defense locking up, shutting up shop. I've seen that going around on Twitter. That another one of those football cliches. But they're looking imperious. Arguably is this the best Premier League side in history? If they go on to win the treble, they certainly do make a case, because it will be, if they do go on to win this Premier League, no matter what, it will be the 3rd year in a row. And that's only ever been done by Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United on 2 occasions. 2 occasions indeed. But if they bag a treble with that, and the real treble, by the way, in the Premier League, FA Cup, and potentially Champions League, as they are in the semi-finals of the Champions League, the final of the FA Cup, and well within grips and within their hands of this title race, this could be one of the greatest teams we ever see in the Premier League, with the players that they've got. Haaland, already one of the best strikers we'll see in the Premier League, with the record that he's about to smash this season. And it's just a matter of time if he stays in this league this long, as long as he needs to take that crown of being the best player to ever play in the Premier League. And that's coming from an Arsenal fan who currently, right now, the best player to play in the Premier League, and because of the longevity and what he'd done. For me, I'm going to argue Thierry Henry. That's the player. But Erling Haaland, the records he's smashing, the trophies he could potentially pick up, and the impact he's had on this Manchester City team in his 1st season, could take that. We're talking a lot at the moment about these 2 sides, and the chances to make history. It is all there on the line. Arsenal, get back to the away side. We were dealt a blow today, as David Ornstein this morning confirmed that William Saliba will be out for this game, which was a fear. And a lot of Arsenal fans had this fear, given the fact we didn't see William Saliba play at the Emirates on Friday night. And William Saliba has been out with that back injury since the Sporting Lisbon game, which we ever so dearly. I wish, if you could turn back time, you wouldn't want to play Saliba in that game. You would just be in the Europa League, in a sense, because essentially we played a strong team and we didn't still manage to get through into the quarterfinals. And how that injury has cost us, not just that injury, but also the injury to Takahiro Tomiyasu. But we are without William Saliba for this game, most likely the Chelsea game, and there is growing fears that he will be out for the remainder of the season. For me, it's a tough one, because you never know in football if you are going to have an opportunity like this again to take advantage. You never know. Tomorrow is not promised, and no matter how young this Arsenal team is, no matter what I believe, I think Arsenal are going to be here back competing, and I think we're going to be here for a while and here to stay, as long as we keep our foot on the pedal in terms of the ownership. And when I say the ownership, they continue to invest the way they should do, and we continue to maintain and keep our best players, and we continue to build our squad in terms of its depth and quality. As long as we manage to do that, we'll be here for a while. But you never know in football, with injuries and how things can change so quickly in terms of your manager, the things that happen in life. We know tomorrow is not promised. So you never know if this might be the best opportunity. So would you risk him if there is a risk with his potential long-term career on the line for Arsenal to win a title? We'll wait. And I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do so. I'm in my head to stop me trying to think, are we going to get Saliba back for this game? I've ruled him out for the rest of the season for me. I've ruled him out because with a back injury, you can't put your finger on that. Anyone who's suffered with a back injury, let alone at the top level with professional athletes, know that this can be an ongoing issue which requires surgery upon examination, upon so many things that can be very hard to sort out. These back injuries, to whether it's to know it is muscular or if it is even neurological, or even in terms of your structure, any discs or anything like that. There's could be so many issues with that. So yeah, I'm sure the club do have good knowledge on this, but we are without William Saliba in this one. We may see Granit Xhaka return, and the only doubt really for Manchester City, it's a big one though, and that is Nathan Ake, who has been, for me, their best player in defence this season. Can't take it away from Erling Haaland for sure. You definitely can't do that. But Nathan Ake has been their best defender and their most consistent from the very beginning of this season. So he will be a huge miss. I think his 1v1 defensive awareness, defending the 1v1s is what I was meant to say. Sorry. I think that they'll dearly miss that on our right side, their left side, with Bukayo Saka being the one who he was tasked to, who you would task him to try and nullify the arguably player of the season and Arsenal's key man and one of the many contenders for Arsenal's player of the season. And with how he brings stability from that side and his athleticism to cover the ground and maintain that high line, which I just don't think Laporte could do, defending out in these wide areas. But we'll wait and see. I'm sure Manchester City fans back their man, and they've seen him do it multiple times, play for Manchester City in big games. But I think it's a big task for someone who's barely played this season and not had many minutes. I know he played against Sheffield United, but that's Sheffield United. That says an Arsenal, although Arsenal aren't entering this game on their best form. But I wouldn't say that's an Arsenal who aren't entering their best form going forward in the attack. It's more of what Arsenal are letting in at the other end, at the back, which is where Manchester City will be looking at this, licking their lips, rubbing their hands together as they seem to have clicked into gear, getting the best out of Haaland, getting the best out of Jack Grealish, getting the best out of Ilkay Gundogan, getting the best out of Rodri, Stones, the cohesion that they've built right there, the chemistry, the balance that Manchester City are now possessing hasn't been here all season. And Manchester City were the ones who began the season defensively shaky, defensively leaving a lot to be desired. But now that's Arsenal. So Manchester City looking like they could be peaking at the right time. But this is a massive game. For me, it's a title decider. For me, it is definitely, like I've been listening to other Arsenal content creators saying, trying to take the pragmatic approach and saying whatever happens in this game, it doesn't decide what the title. If Manchester City win, then it gives them a massive boost and they have a margin for error in terms of the games in hand that they have and the points difference. And they'll still be second if they do win this game, but they'll be still having those 2 games in hands with just 2 points behind us. So they could afford to lose one, win one, and then even go and win the rest. And it's still within their destiny. And it does look like a tough mountain to climb for Arsenal then with so little to go. However, if Arsenal can grab this win, it's still within their hands and the margin for error is greater. So Arsenal could get to 78 points if they win this game, leaving Manchester City on 70, with Manchester City having 2 games in hand. And Manchester City needed to win those 2 games in hand to be within 2 points of Arsenal, ready for them to slip up if they do make a slip up. And yes, that doesn't mean that it's all over, but I think the psychological factor that we see in football will be huge. I think it will be immense in terms of Manchester City prioritizing the Champions League and other competitions. And you can't, come on, it is a factor in football. We've watched it a lot. We've seen it a lot. How many times have we seen teams win the treble? How many times have we seen teams even win the Premier League and Champions League? It doesn't happen that many times. Certainly Manchester City are capable of it. But if I think if they're going to do it in today with this competitive Premier League, which we just saw on the weekend, by the way, guys. Sorry, my nose is dripping. I had a bit of a sneezing fit before this, which we just saw on the weekend. When you're coming up against teams that are down there in at the bottom, which, you know, easy favourites, rub your hands together. Let's go. Let's move on. We should pick up 3 points here. Yeah, maybe in September, November, October. I know I've messed up my months there. September, October, November, December time. Yes, you do pick up those wins, but not when they're fighting for their lives. Is the will to win stronger than the will to survive? We'll see. I feel like the will to survive does it, and we see it a lot. If you do have enough quality and enough will, you can beat the teams in at the top and grab points and nick them off. So that's why I think it's a huge game psychologically. We will be going into much more depth and detail going into it tomorrow, or we'll be doing a call-in show. So for those of you that want to get your thoughts and really want to chop it up and even have a little bit of therapy entering this game, because there is so much pressure surrounding it, as we got plenty of Arsenal fans in here. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. Tomorrow we'll definitely get into them. I'll still read your comments out. Don't you worry about that as we get into them. But now it's time for me to predict how I think this game is going to go. Key battles in this game. You Arsenal, are we going to fix up in our defence? And mainly, are we going to not be the makers of our own downfall, which we were the makers of our own downfall in the reverse fixture against Manchester City, where we gave them 2 goals, and it was the first 2 goals that Manchester City scored. We gave them the first goal from a Tomiyasu error. We then equalised through a penalty from Bukayo Saka, and we played really well at that point, and we were asserting our dominance, and Manchester City were going long, and in that first half, they had no real control. Arsenal had a few chances and got into a few dangerous positions where we just couldn't quite engineer an opportunity to really take it, but we did enough, and we entered the second half with the game finally balanced at 1-1. But then another error led from Gabriel, where Manchester City, give credit to them, ruthlessly punished us. So those 2 errors proved costly in the end. And that's just the 2 errors outside of the box. Arsenal, even in decision-making, how clinical we're going to have to be in this game, got in both boxes, ruthless, no margin for error in either boxes. That's where Mikel Arteta himself said the game was lost, and where it was won from Manchester City, because in between both boxes at the Emirates, and I'd even say really at the Etihad in the FA Cup, where Arsenal performed really well with a much changed team, entered that game with no fear. Yes, there is nowhere near as much riding on it then as there is now going into this one, and Manchester City have now found their balance and struck that balance within their side. So this one is going to be a match for the ages, and my prediction is it's going from my heart, and I know this. I'm admitting it now. I'm admitting it. I'm going for an Arsenal win, right? Arsenal to win by 3-2. Cannot see us no chance keeping a clean sheet. No chance we're not conceding less than 2 goals at this moment in time. That defies logic. My prediction kind of defies logic, but I'm not going too mad with it and saying we're gonna keep them at bay. Maybe they'll nick 1. I can't see that at all. 2 goals minimum for Manchester City, but we need to take advantage and really put their foot on the neck. Yeah, going forward, because there are weaknesses from Manchester City on that end. I saw it even with their 3-0 victory against that very good Bayern Munich team. A 3-0 victory in that game where Bayern Munich in that first half didn't take their opportunities. Jamal Musiala blocked by Ruben Dias. excellent defender, excellent. But Arsenal need to take their moments and need to capitalize. And yes, we're going to need a little bit of, more than a little bit of luck, more than you got to believe. We're going to need luck. Maybe even a man sent off, something like that. It's happened against us. Why can't it happen for us this time? We are certainly going to need refereeing decisions to go our way, and even contentious ones where we may be drawing a debate after this game for Arsenal to enter the Lions' Den in the Etihad. And the reason it's a Lions' Den, not because of their atmosphere that they're able to drum up, but more to do with how they play at home and how relentless they are and how much confidence they exude at home. Mad. I've gone for a 3-2 Arsenal victory. Edmin has gone for a 2-2 draw. And it's a good prediction, in fact, because I've got to ask the question now, guys. If you're an Arsenal fan, if I can give you this game right now, I'm looking at you, right? You who's here watching this right now, or live or after. Are you taking a 2-2 draw before a ball is kicked? Would you shake on it? Would you? Let me know. I'm taking it. I am, I'm taking a 2-2 draw, move on, and let's hope City fall to elsewhere, because then all that means is Arsenal will have a 5-point gap with Man City's having 2 games in hand. And then that will mean Manchester City will, they won't have a bigger margin for error. If they drop a point, if they don't win a single one of those games in hand, it's in Arsenal's hands completely. But then, of course, is this current Arsenal team going to win all of those games? I don't think so. But I'm not sure if Manchester City will either. I'm sure there's going to be points dropped by both sides going into it. If Manchester City win 14 games in a row, hey, they'll cakewalk the league. They'll deserve it because of how that run at the end was just relentless and it was a joke. However, if Arsenal can take a draw at the Etihad tomorrow, I'm taking it. I've gone for the win. Edmund's gone for the draw. Let's see what you guys and girls are saying in the chat in terms of this one here. Red Devil Yannick says, "Are you scared?" Do you know what? Yes, scared in a sense of what Manchester City can do to us, but I'm also very excited for it, Red Devil Yannick. That's the genuine feeling that I have right now. No lie, no BS, none of that. Yeah, I genuinely feel really excited to be going into this game. When's the last time I've seen Arsenal? I've never seen Arsenal enter a title game, a title deciding game. Remember, we used to watch these we just watched it last season, Manchester City versus Liverpool. You may have seen it because your team has won a league title more recently. But yeah, I really am excited for these title deciding games. I really am. Whether we win or lose, it's good for Arsenal to be there in and around there, back at the top. Yes, I'll be disappointed. That is not copium. I will still be hurt and I will be criticized, and it will take days for me to get over. I will be honest if we don't win this game, of course. But it's what we want to be here for. It's exactly what we want to be here. Arsenal will win against Manchester City 3-0 and then proceed to lose against Chelsea and Brighton. Build yourself, LFC fan. Hey, that would be bottling it. That would be bottling it to the real extent. Paxton in the place. I love this prediction. Manchester City 2, Arsenal 3. Come on, don't bottle it. Big up yourself, SJ in the building as well. Hope you're keeping good. Good evening to you. Let's go Arsenal, says Ed. We're going to concede 2 to 3 goals per game. If Arteta doesn't try something different, then I see us getting slapped 5-1, says Luke. You know what I mean? I hear you. I do hear you. We are going to have to change something up. Let me just mention this here. We are going to have to change something. Tactically, we're going to have to change something. Where if Rob Holding plays personnel-wise, then mate, seriously, we can't continue to play the way that we've been doing with Rob Holding there. And it's not, once again, Rob Holding's not done anything directly wrong, but the how we're building up in terms of our attack, and it's not a coincidence that we're making more mistakes in our own third and in our own half a lot of the times now, because we're not building up as efficiently or as quickly as we needed to break through those lines, so teams can't get set into their pressing shape or traps, or even into their shape in general when they're trying to sit in a low block like a Southampton. Because in the second half, apart from when Erdegaard decided to, I'm going to show my captain. I'm a captain. I got real mentality. People try and question me about mentality. Erdegaard slapped one in, and then that's when the tide turned. But up until that, we weren't really creating much, was we, Luke? So we're going to have to try and change something tactically for us going in attack, mid and transition, and defense. It's those three key areas that we need to improve on. Big up my brother Ends in the building. Hope you're keeping good right now. Sorry. Feel like I'm going to sneeze again. Manchester City 5-0 Haaland with the goals. SJ saying he supporting Man United there. Ours is still better, especially since it's under the same era, doing it twice. So we have to wait until Pep decides what his future lies. Yeah, he could make it 4 in a row next season. Indeed, Liverpool have won 3 league titles in a row as well. Season ending. Oh, so this was in Division 1. So 82, 83, and 84. That's why 89 was so good, man. Big up yourself, Bargav, saying keep the faith, Tariq. Ozil played back in. Oh, man. Ozil. I like how you brought that up there. But yeah, Ozil suffered from a lack of backbone, says Luke. Oh, man. Predictions will be in the predictions league, guys. Make sure you do get them into the chat afterwards. Indeed. And says he'll call in for tomorrow's show. Defo, man, you're more than welcome. I think it's already over. The look on our players and faces after they drew against Southampton, that tells you that. I wouldn't look too much into that, because that's just a lot of. No, I don't think so. I don't think that shows a lot, because you go through these moments, even if you do win a league title. You do, mate. I do think you're looking a bit too much. It doesn't mean that we're going to win on not tomorrow, on Wednesday, but yeah, we've come from setbacks before, Luke. In terms of, look at our faces against when we played Manchester City. Do you remember the feeling then? I know you, and to be honest, I think everyone said it was over. Not everyone, but a lot of people said it was over at that point, and that's when Man City were just going to roll on. Didn't work. Didn't happen that way. So I think this Arsenal team has a very good ability to bounce back. That bounce back ability is brilliant. And yeah, 3 draws. It feels like losses because of Manchester City. Hey, Luke, you're old enough, and so are most of you in the chat. We could draw 12 games and win the league. Do you get me? We can't do that now. Not with this. Not with the level this City team's taking it to. Absolutely no way. No. As Pep would do. Second place ain't good enough. Still ticking. Still sticking with Arsenal winning the title. Bargav, I like to hear that. I like to hear it indeed. Big up my bro Moss in here. Says just want to slay the beast and beat them, and I'm happy no matter what. A big chance for Arsenal to really make a statement. We're gonna cut the service to Haaland and jump them in the front. Oh, I like the way you're talking. 2-1 Arsenal, says Bargav. Love that. If Manchester City win the rest of their games, including Arsenal, they'll be on 94 points. Do you see, Pax? This is where, the argument with the Manchester City, Man United, which one's better? Bro, Man United were never hitting them heights. Do you get me? Like, in terms of points, and the league is arguably more competitive now. Do you get me? So that's where they will say, yeah, you did that amount of times and you dominated that era. Look at the level we took this era to. 100 points and 90 points minimum to win the league. Bro, our teams are winning leagues on 78 points. Do you know what I mean? This is it. This is new level, new talk. I'll save that in for after. Big up yourself, Pax. But yeah, Edmund's prediction for there is a 2-2 draw. Let's move on now into the next games. But before we do so, guys, if you're watching afterwards, make sure you smash a like, share this out to your friends and family, please. We need to get more people into the channel, and yeah, please do, people. Thank you for all your love and support that you continue to show. But now let's get into the Tottenham versus Man United game, because that one's here on Thursday night. That one's the last game, because it kicks off, I think it's like quarter past 8 here. Sorry, I think it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 8:15 on Thursday. Spurs versus Man United. Spurs in the muds. And there was a lot of talk about Arsenal battling in it. And then you have a look at what Spurs do yesterday and the showing that they put in for that first 20 minutes. 5-0 down, end up losing 6-1. Embarrassing. Christian Stellini has been sacked. They've replaced an interim manager already. They've already had to sack an interim after already getting rid of Antonio Conte. Absolute joke of a club. They're in a real mess right now, and I can't see. It's really difficult to see right now where this club's going to go, where the future, like how they're going to progress in the future. I can't see it. Harry Kane's going to be leaving. I think that helps them in terms of progressing because they're able to cash in, not have this over-reliance and this burden of, we need to try and get Kane a trophy. Let's just try and get a win now. Manager, let's try and just build a project, rip it all out, start again, build a project. You've got a nice stadium. You've got London to offer. That will be an enticing factor as well as the Premier League wages for a lot of players. And looks like they will be in Europe at some extent, so they're going to need some sort of a squad. So they can still attract good level players. Don't try and go for the big guns in management who just aren't, who feel bigger than the club. Go do a project thing, Spurs. Do it, man. Like, I don't want them to. Actually, continue doing your old ways. But Manchester United pulled the plug, did a project thing, and this is a club that are arguably the best one of the best in the league, the league, sorry, not in the world, but in the league. Liverpool fans have a different point to say, but what the most successful in terms of how they perform with this one, Manchester United, yeah. As Ed says here, are United going to pile the pain on Spurs even more? Yeah, I was speaking to my brother Brush, shout out Brush, yesterday, and he said, I don't like playing wounded animals like that because they usually bounce back in the next game. The Spurs, who did Spurs play in their last Premier League game? Before that, let's have a look. Was it the Bournemouth game they played before the Newcastle one? I think it was. So they lost 2 in a row there. I'm just going to have a quick look for you right now on Spurs. Let's have a look into this one. You're probably there screaming, yes, it was the Bournemouth game. No, it wasn't. It was that. Yeah, so they lost 2 in a row. Home to Bournemouth, then away to Newcastle. But yeah. But, Premier League teams, they don't tend to lose, especially when you're up there in the table, lose 3 in a row. There is a lot of turmoil at Spurs right now, and it will be toxic. Manchester United into the final of the FA Cup. What a season this could be for Erik ten Hag. And can I just say, I don't like doing it, but once again, I told you I'm an unbiased fan. What a season. And Erik ten Hag has done a tremendous job. Yes, he's been on the end of a few slappings, but as expected. I remember saying this to you guys at the very start of the season. This was after the Brighton game and Brentford. I said, trust me, you're going to get even more beatings. But I never expected Manchester United to be in the top 4, comfortably be in the top 4, and potentially have 2 domestic cup competitions to their name. That would be a tremendous achievement within his first season, with so many issues surrounding the club, with the ownership, with the Glazers, with that being up in the air, with how the fans were feeling, and it's still quite volatile at Manchester United. The issues he's had to deal with Ronaldo, Maguire, and with injuries that he's had to manage in certain points too, and the amount of games simply that a lot of players have had to play. If he can get the top into the top 4, he comfortably take the top 4, and then it doesn't mean comfortably. If he just finishes within the top 4 and has a Carabao Cup, it's a very good season. Anything else is a bonus, and it just should increase the pay packet really and pay rise for him, and even more trust, and even bring the excitement of the United fans higher and raise the level even higher. Even with the Glazers, I can say that, and because with a good manager, with a good certain who knows what he's doing, you won the leagues. You won leagues with the Glazers in charge. Yes, they hold you back and they don't allow you to flourish to the best of your ability. But because Manchester United, the institution, is so big, and with what the name and if you get the right people in, and when I mean the right people, the right character, no more mercenaries at your club, you can take it and you can be in there and competing for a title next season. You seriously can be, with the right recruitment being brought in. It doesn't even have to be the most expensive players, guys. Manchester United, from what I grew up They signed one marquee player per summer, it felt like. You bring in your Ferdinands, your Rooneys, your Berbatovs from Spurs, these top players. But then you surround them with good recruitment and good level of scouting that, you're looking around Europe and you're like, yeah, I'm going to nick you, Anderson. Some of them didn't quite work out, of course, but you build them and you build from within your academy, which is doing so well at the moment. You are getting some, Alejandro Garnacho, those likes of those players getting within there. Colby Maino, there's some good talent in at Manchester United. If they can build that in the right way and sustain and continue their identity, Eric Ten Hag's a perfect man for that. So future's looking bright for Man United fans, which is why they're starting to feel a lot of excitement, whereas it's completely the opposite of Spurs. I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I'm sorry, I'm bottling it like Spurs. I just can't see Spurs losing that many games in a row. And Man United, maybe with extra time, they've got a lot of mileage on their legs this season. I think Man United will be happy with a draw and they'll take it and move on, because it just means that Spurs don't gain any points on them. They're already 6 points ahead of them. Spurs are going to drop even more points. Top four, fighting for top four is not fighting. It's not like fighting for a title. You can afford to drop points, as well as you can afford to draw games, because just simply the teams in and around you aren't going to win every one. But guys, let me know your thoughts and predictions on this here. Ed has gone for a 3-1 Manchester United win. I've gone for a 1-1 draw in this one. I think they'll try and shut up shop a little bit more, make it a dead, boring game. Man United will just be there, knowing that they don't necessarily need to win. Really, they'll try to, but they're not going to go hell for leather or leaving themselves completely exposed at the back, because with their defensive issues and their injuries, of course, I think they are going to look back at it in a different way. Spurs 1, Manchester United 2, says Paxton. We are a tied bunch, plus maybe Spurs might have a little bounce back. Yeah, I do think that, but you've still gone for a United win. Spurs 1, United 3, Slabhead hat-trick. Plus OG, because after all, he's slabbed, says Luke. I agree. I hear what you're saying there. Hop for 5. Ericsson free kick outside the box at his old stomping ground. I like the way you're thinking there, Red Devil. Bargav says there's reports in the US that Glazers will stay. Yep, those seem to be the concrete reports right now. In fact, Bargav, you are right. It does look like the Glazers will remain in at Manchester United, which certainly isn't good from a Manchester United point of view. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see there, guys. But as we're going to move on now into the next game, let me just post this up here, people. My apologies. Let's move on now into the next game, and that is going to be... Which one should we talk about next? There are some big ones. Shall I move on into one of the relegation massive games, which is Leeds taking on Leicester? Huge game, Paxton, from the East Midlands. We will still talk about the other teams. Don't you worry about that. But this is a relegation 6-pointer. When I look at the league table, which is right in front of me as we speak, Leeds in 16th position, 29 points, safe. And they're out of the relegation zone as well as Leicester. But they are only 1 point that separates Leeds and Everton in 18th. And yeah, Leicester are on 28 points. So there's 1 point that separates these two teams going into it. Leeds have a better goal difference than Everton, but only by 1. And Leicester have a better goal difference than Everton, which keeps them out of there. So this game is a 6-pointer. It's huge. I don't think both teams can really afford a draw. If Everton do the unthinkable, when we'll get into their game later on. But Leicester are in a slump at the moment. If you have a look at their form, they've lost. They lost their 4 out of their last 5 in the Premier League, only winning 1, and that was against 19th place Nottingham Forest. They lost 4-1 to Arsenal, 5-1 to Crystal Palace, 6-1 to Liverpool, and 2-1 to Fulham in the last game. Whereas Leicester, with new manager Dean Smith, picked up a win, 2-1 win at home at the King Power against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Massive victory that was for belief for Leicester, the Leicester fans and the players. And that was without a James Maddison too, without their talisman, without their main chief goal scorer. and creator. In this game for me, I'm going to go for a 1-0 Leicester win. I'm going for a clean sheet. Now I've changed my mind. 2-1 Leicester win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Leicester win. That's me changing my mind. I think Leicester are going to maintain and try and build up a good run of form now where Dean Smith is going to keep them up. They've got too many goals in that team for me. Harvey Barnes, Patson Daka, Kelechi and Nacho, very streaky striker in his form. I think he's going to be able to bounce back for them. And he's going to be 2-1 to Leicester and Leeds down in the mud, down in the dump. It's going to be a problem end to the season. And it's just about who can manage to get enough points to stay afloat. Leeds in serious danger of getting relegated, but there is so much to play for in this relegation battle. Edmund says for 1-0 prediction in this game here. Let's see what you guys are going for. Barkat's going for Leeds in this game, and he also thinks that Leeds will stay up as well. I also do think Leeds will stay up. My prediction was Everton to go down. So we'll see in terms of that when I go for the Everton game there. That's probably giving you a little bit of a hint where I'm going to. Paxton says a 1-0 Leicester win in this one. He's gone for the same score as Ed. Big up yourself as well, Shane. Nice seeing you in here, my brother. He's gone for a 3-1 Leicester win and a 3-1 Arsenal win. Come on, you Gunners. Love to see that. Let's now move on into the next game. And shall we talk about one that does affect the top four in relegation battle? And we just mentioned them in Newcastle. TTF, are Everton gone? Let me know your thoughts in the chat, guys. Big up to Edmund, who sorted out these banners here as we're talking about them. But Everton versus Newcastle, massive game at Goodison Park. Everton, as we just said, they are in 18th on goal difference, just below Leicester because of their 9 worse goal difference, so it's going to be hard for them to make up that margin unless Leicester get a hammer in, of course, at some point before the end. Because with Everton, their issue isn't conceding goals. They don't really concede too many. They just can't put many in the back of the net. But what I will say, I saw Dominic Calvert-Lewin play on the weekend, so maybe if they can keep him fit, they have a big chance of staying up. I did predict them to go down, but I just remembered Dominic Calvert-Lewin's back, and I think there was, they didn't win on the weekend. They drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace away from home, with resurgent side with Roy Hodgson at the helm. And going down to 10 men, it was always going to be a difficult game. But if they can get Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they have someone who can give you enough goals. Let's say he's going to have to return to form quickly and fitness quickly because they've got 6 games left, and in those 6 games he can grab you 3 goals. He's a striker that can get you 1 every 2 games in this type of form in the end of the season. But he's going to have to be fit and firing straight away to have a real impact because they're going to really need him, Everton, in these final games. And they're going to need to really build upon that solid foundation that Sean Dyche is trying to build there at Everton. But they are coming up against one of the best performing teams in the league right now, who are in 3rd place with 59 points and above Man United with a 20-plus goal difference in Newcastle. Fine form this Newcastle team are in, and they're scoring goals now and they're putting those chances away, and that is a dangerous combination for Newcastle because we know Newcastle defensively, that's not their issue. What Eddie Howe has done, built from a solid foundation there at the back, that's not their issue. Their issue was putting the ball in the back of the net, not having that ruthless streak, not creating many chances from open play, but they are beginning to do that now. Isak, what a player, what a striker. And you can see why Arsenal were so interested in him in January, but didn't feel to pay the 90 million euros, 70 million pounds that was required to pay for his release clause back at that stage. But Newcastle splashed big cash on him. And look how he's proving for him now. 10 Premier League goals from Alexander Isak. And he's not a striker that just relies on goals either. He's a striker that can give you so much more with his build-up play, link-up, drifting out wide, his pressing, the energy he provides in behind, and his hold-up play is excellent. Real modern-day striker, Alexander Isak. And if they can keep him fit, because that's his only issue really this season, is staying fit and maintaining that level of fitness required to be in the Premier League, he can be a future star for them and a striker to build around. And if he can have a real impact in this game, then Newcastle will win. And that's why I'm going to go for a 2-0 Newcastle win in this game here. I think it's a mountain that will be too difficult for Everton with the form that Newcastle side is in. And I'd say the experience that they seem to have as well. They can manage away games. I know they lost their last away game to Aston Villa, but they look at the way they bounce back. A good team never loses to on a bounce. Gerard Houllier always used to say that. Where did I hear that in commentary this weekend? A good team never loses to on a bounce. And that's what Newcastle are. Certainly a solid team that can create and score goals and have a real presence, attacking presence about them. 2-1 Newcastle. Ed's gone for a 3-1. 2-0, I say, sorry. Ed's gone for a 3-1 Newcastle. What are you guys going in the chat for this one here? Shay says 7-0 Newcastle. So really put the goals in after that win against Spurs. But Paxton's gone for a 1-1 draw in this one, and that will suit Everton. Everton will take that one, given the difficulty of this fixture. Of course, they'd ideally want a win, but in this one, every point matters because there is going to be points dropped at least in that Leicester Leeds game. And let's say that one ends in a draw. They're still within touching distance of them. And yeah, there's I wouldn't say easier because there's nothing easy at this stage in the season, but just having a quick glance at Everton's fixtures, they will have Leicester in after this away from home at the King Power. 6 points are there. Brighton away, difficult. Everton, Man City at home, difficult. Wolves away, difficult. But then they'll have Bournemouth. So they've not got a good end. That's why I did go for them to go down. But they ideally, they've got to try and take a win, but a draw is not the end of the world. Newcastle 1-0. That first half versus Spurs was an anomaly. Way too perfect. Pick up yourself, UV. Don't worry about that. And he's gone for a 2-1 Newcastle win. I'm glad that you are here. Appreciate you for joining. 3-0 Newcastle, says Red Devil Yannick. Interesting right there. So most of us has gone for a Newcastle win, although Paxton, interestingly, has gone for a draw. And I can see that happening. I can. If Newcastle go back to their mean and what their issue is of not being able to score too many goals. But Everton, just nick one with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, all from a set piece. Be interesting there. But listen to Edmund right here, guys. Make your make sure your predictions are in the comments afterwards, people. Make sure you are to be within a chance of getting multiple giveaways at the end of the season. Even if you have just joined now, you still can be within a chance of getting multiple giveaways, guys, and I will be sharing those out as we enter into May. I'll let you know the details of what those giveaways are. I've got them planning up in the scenes, in the back behind the scenes, just to say thank you for all the support you've shown to the channel. UV, this is his FPL team. He's gone for Kepa, Trent, Trippier, Estupinan. I was looking at putting Estupinan, by the way. Salah, Rashford, Martinelli, March, Matoma, Haaland, and Jota. That's a good team. It's a very good team, very informed as well. And make sure you listen to Shay as well. Really appreciate you there, Shay. Make sure you subscribe and get this man to 700 subscribers. Yeah, share it to a friend as well. Really appreciate that. And thank you for tuning in, guys. But we are still got a few more games to go. We've spoken about the Man United one. We're going to talk about another one. We'll get into the big teams now. We'll get back into those. We'll talk about West Ham versus Liverpool. Liverpool, who are in good form. And both teams are entering this game off the back of wins from the weekend. West Ham winning 4-0 away from home up against Bournemouth. And that was a huge victory. And West Ham are actually unbeaten in their last 3. And in their last 5 games, they've only lost 1. And that was against Newcastle. So they've won 3 and drawn 1, lost 1 in their last 5. And Liverpool, by the way, won 2 in a row. After 2 draws, 2 wins, and 1 loss, which was against Manchester City. But yeah, Liverpool and West Ham entering it into some good form lately. This will be a difficult game. West Ham, you feel that they are safe now in 13th on 34 points. It'd be difficult to see other teams in and around them accumulating that amount of points and really stretching that margin at the bottom to get to that. I don't think the bottom, the 18th place team will get to 35 points. So West Ham essentially just need to pick up 1 more point in this to make sure that they're safe. So I can't see Everton or Forest or Southampton getting past 34. Or if they do, then I definitely can't see Leeds or Leicester doing it at the moment. So yeah, it does really look like the relegation battle is starting to take shape. So West Ham, maybe they could be entering the beach, whereas Liverpool are trying to make a late run into that top four, and they're going to have to do this, hoping that Manchester United slip up and Spurs doing this in these final games where they could make a late run. Maybe it's going to be too little too late, but this Liverpool attack is firing. It's forming and it's taking shape. Yes, defensively, they've still got their issues. I mean, in transition, that's not going to go away. That's going to need a transfer window to do that. But if they are going to try and make a late push for European, Europa League spots or even the Champions League, they're going to need a win here. And I'm going to go for goals. I'm going to go for 3-2 Liverpool win. Edwin has also gone for goals, but he's gone for a 4-2 Liverpool win in this one here. So a 6-goal thriller. I do think Liverpool, they're just going to have to outscore teams at this moment, which is kind of similar to what they did when they were in that, when they had that COVID season after they won the league, where it really affected their team and they picked up a lot of injuries. I think they're going to try and do that. Jota in form, Salah, Nunez, Gakpo, they really are getting those juices flowing in the attack right now. So yeah, I'm going for a 3-2 Liverpool win, whereas Edmund's gone for a 4-2. Big up yourself, the man. He says that time is now. Big up yourself, my bro. Hope you're keeping good and well. Mi hombre. West Ham 2-1 says Paxton. Of course, he's got to back him. Course he does against his rivals. But Bargav says for a 3-1 Liverpool win. Although Red Devil Yannick can see a 1-1 draw. So we've got a range of results right now in our first three predictions. Shay says a 3-2 West Ham win. Declan Rice to score a last-minute winner for the Hammers. And you know what? He's definitely getting a lot of interest. One of the teams interested is Liverpool, Arsenal, of course, Chelsea, and Newcastle. So many teams for what a wonderful player Declan Rice is, and I'm glad people are starting to recognise it now. Because if you watch this channel for a while, you don't know now. Declan Rice over Calvin Phillips every single day of the week. I'm actually confident, but West Ham away is tough. But I think we will win 3-1. Says UV, Mo Salah brace and Jota for West Ham. Maybe Bowen, and I think top four is over for me. It's just too late, and the gap is big. Yeah, I hear that. But you got to make sure you're in there, because Man United are suffering with injuries. Everything's in turmoil at Spurs right now. So if there is a area where they could be they could drop off and you could try and capitalize, it is in that fourth spot. Newcastle got it wrapped up, sewn up for me. They'll just do enough. Manchester United's home form is pretty good though. However, those injuries and the amount of games, the mileage in their legs, maybe we could see a little bit of it crumble. Maybe, I don't know, but I think Eric Ten Hag's done a good enough job. It will be difficult, and it's going to mean that you guys are going to essentially have to win all of your games and show the level of Liverpool where you have been previously to get in there. But UV does say, I think we will catch Spurs and finish 6th or 5th and get Europa, but hope we get Champions League football next season. Yeah, that'll be big. That'll be huge. But if you don't get Champions League football next season, I guess that means you get to have your good Europa League campaign where you could possibly win that trophy, add that to Klopp's trophy cabinet, because that was the first one that he tried to compete for against Sevilla. Who did he lose to? Yeah, of course, Unai Emery. Everyone loses to Unai Emery, unless you're Maurizio Sarri or when he's managing Arsenal in the Europa League. So yeah, the Mancha Kushana says West Ham was cooking last week. I'm going for a 2-1 win for them. How do you like that? I like that. I think we will win all of our last 7 games, but will it be enough? Probably not. We have easy games next, but there is no easy games in the Premier League. Yeah, exactly. Your running favours you. It does favour you, but as you said, not many easy games in the Premier League. At home, every game's easy for you at home, I guess, unless you're playing Leeds or Arsenal. So yeah, and yeah, you've drawn other games actually, so I can't really say that. But let's now move on now into the other games. We've only got a few more to go through, so hang on with me here, guys. We'll move on now into, let's do Chelsea versus Brentford. There's not too much riding on this. So I want you guys to just chuck your predictions in for Chelsea versus Brentford, West London derby. This is one of the games that there isn't really too much to play for in this one here. Chelsea aren't going to be able to make a late push into Europe. Brentford doesn't look likely with the slump in form that they're suffering at the moment. In time, when you look at their form, Brentford, they've not won a single game in 5, drawn 2, lost 3, but they did draw their last game against Aston Villa, and it took a 90th minute equaliser from Douglas Luiz to do so. Chelsea also haven't won in 5, and they've also got the same form of losing 3, drawing 2 in their last 5 games. I'm just going to go for a draw. I've got to go for a draw in this one. Chelsea 1, Brentford 1. What has Ed gone for in this one? He's gone for a 1-1. Okay, I'm going to change it now to a 0-0. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw in this game here. Ed went for a 1-1. He put his predictions down first, so I'll let him go for it. 0-0 draw, Chelsea, Brentford. What are you saying here? T does a better impression of myself than I do. I'm glad that you liked it. I'm glad that you liked it, Holmes. I'm glad. I'm watching off American movies with Latino, gangs, the Sin Carlo. The Sin Carlo. Sin Cara. That's a wrestler. The Sinaloa Cartel. Hey, what would you? I sound like that guy for Far Cry now. That's what I sound like. Sorry. Let's get back to football. We hope we hope to win at Man City Stadium. Indeed, Shay, we do. Chelsea 0-0. Me and Pax gone for the same scoreline there. Chelsea 1-0 in this one. This game is so irrelevant. Mid-table clash, but I think it'll be a boring 1-1. But would not be surprised if Brentford get a scrappy win. Indeed. And yes, that does remind me, Pochettino could be their new manager, which Paxton brought us news earlier on, saying talks are progressing with Pochettino and Chelsea board. Process ongoing, not done yet, but it's getting closer. He has told his backroom staff to get ready. Here's a clear favourite since Friday, Mauricio Pochettino to Chelsea. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Because UV said right here, Poch to Chelsea would not be a good appointment, not good enough for Chelsea standards. I tend to agree. Pochettino is a more established manager than a Graham Potter in terms of dealing with egos, and he's had experience of dealing with those. However, he's still in the same mold where he will need to have players that won't have an ego, he won't have to worry about how much they're earning and those things, because he's going to need to try and mold this squad in his way. They do have young players that will like that. I'm sure Enzo Fernandez will be a good key player under him, both Argentinians, Spanish speaking, so they'll get along, I'm sure, and he'll help him. Even get the best out of him, of course. But just the way the Chelsea club model is, they're too ruthless. If he can't win him a trophy straight away, sorry, he's under trouble. There's no bedding in period. We've seen that now. Chelsea don't allow a period to bed in. They've set the precedent. Can't see it happening. The only way it works, I don't think it really works with any manager, because Chelsea seem to be going with their managerial approach in a very ruthless Roman Abramovich way. Sack, or if you're not doing it, get out. However, they're buying players for more of a project style. Doesn't quite work that way. Can't have the best of both worlds, Chelsea. But you're going to do what you're going to do. So I don't think it's the greatest appointment. I think if they did go in a project style, I think it's a great appointment. I think it is. But because of how Chelsea are going to operate, no, not for me. 4-0 Brentford, says Red Devil Yannick. Jurgen Klopp dreams of signing Nicola Barella, but he also has Kefram Turam on his wish list, and he's a very good player. I want him myself. Me and Moss knows that. But yeah, I do think he'd be a very good midfielder for you guys at Liverpool. LFC are positioned stronger than anyone for Turam's signature. If they bid for him, they will get him. Okay, wrap it up, now. I will be there soon. Don't you worry. I will be there. Let me go on now into, we've got a few more games to chat about. What have we got to talk about now? Let's do the Wolves Crystal Palace one. We'll do Wolves Crystal Palace. Both teams are relatively safe now at this point in the season. So yeah, we can kind of get our way through this one quite easily. Wolves Crystal Palace, the form that both teams are in to in this game. It has been good. Obviously, Crystal Palace drew their last game and Wolves lost. But apart from that, Crystal Palace in their last 5 have won 3 games. And Wolves in their last 5 won 2, drawn 1, but lost 2 as well. So not as great, but they picked up victories at home against Chelsea and Brentford. So this one will be an interesting one. I'm going to go for a 2-1. 2-1 Wolves win. Ed's gone for a 1-1 draw in this one. Guys, let me know your thoughts for the Wolves Crystal Palace game. Wolves don't really tend to concede too many at home, but Crystal Palace, the form that they've been in, man, Eberici Eze, what a player he's been so far under his reign at under Roy Hodgson. Ed's put in here, TTF is a draw enough to keep Edmin and Jacob and the Eagle Eye guys safe for another season. Let me know your thoughts. I think so. I've given you my theory. I think anything more than 35 points, you're safe for sure. Can't see the 2 to 3 teams getting above that. Southampton look down and out, but they can't, you can't see 3 teams managing to get over above that. So, and Wolves are already on 34. Wolves are on 34 points. Crystal Palace 37. Yeah, Crystal Palace are clear. So it's just for Wolves, really. A point is enough for Edmund and Jacobs and the TTS sides to stay clear. I do think so. What we got here, 1-1 draw, says Paxton. 2-1 wins to Wolves, says Shay. Wolves' run in their last game is difficult. Yep. So that's why they're going to need to pick up the draw here if they are to really assure themselves and make themselves safe. Yep. Their last games are difficult. Their last game is against the mighty Arsenal. If the title is still to play for at that point in the season, I'm happy. I think Wolves will draw with Palace 1-1. It'll be a boring one to watch. Yeah, we do get that at this time of the season, though, don't we, Evie? When the games are starting, when the season's starting to wrap up. Liverpool is willing to submit a 53 million euros offer for Sporting's Manuel Ugarte. A very good player. He was very good against us. Rough and when I say rough, I mean rough in terms of hard in the tackle. Got himself sent off, and you can see why he gets so many yellow cards. But he's a good player, and I think he does suit your system a lot, and he would suit your midfield very much so. Manuel Ugarte would be a good signing for Liverpool right there. But Wolves won, Palace won in this game. Let's now move on into how many more games we got left to talk about. We haven't really got too many. We'll talk about Aston Villa versus Fulham, who Aston Villa drew their last game, but in their last 5, it still looks good. 4 wins, 1 draw, unbeaten. That unbeaten run continues. They are 2 points behind Tottenham, who Tottenham are in 5th place. But this game is due to take place tomorrow. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So, Aston Villa could start this, could reach as high as 5th and be on 54 points if they can grab a win against Fulham. Fulham, in their last 2 games, have won. Their last 2, it looked like they were in their mid-sleep. They're on the beach. They're just going to ride out for the rest of the season as they're safe. But have picked up a couple of wins against Everton away and then against Leeds at home. So maybe they want to throw a spanner in the works, Marco Silva's side. But for me in this one, I'm going to go for an Aston Villa win. I'm going to say 2-1. I think it's going to be close. Aston Villa are going to edge it, of course, and enter that and be in that 5th position by the time Spurs play Manchester United. Edmund's gone for a 2-0 win here. Paxton's gone for a 1-0 Aston Villa win. And Shay's gone for a 3-0 Aston Villa win there. Guys, get me your predictions in the live chat or in the comments at the end to be within a chance of getting plenty of giveaways. We're not just entering it. We're not just giving it to 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We're giving it to plenty of you guys, the ones who show the most committed and who deserve it, really. You know what I mean? Because you do. I really do appreciate you all. Aston Villa 2 will win 2-0. Stadium will be rocking. Emery, they look good under Emery. Red Devil Yannick's heading off. We are going to be here. We are going to be heading off ourselves soon. We've just got a few more games to go. Have a good one. Come on, 700 subs. Hope for Kane in and Sommer. Big up yourself, Red Devil Yannick. That would be a very good transfer window if you can get in a Jan Sommer and Harry Kane, but maybe even a Mike Manuel. Would you take him? Would you take a Diogo Costa? Plenty of goalkeepers out there that can improve Manchester United. So other games that we got to talk about. We've done Wolves. We've done all the Tuesday games. we've only got 2 more games. Let's put them in together. Nottingham Forest versus Brighton and Southampton versus Bournemouth. So we got a South Coast derby right there. Let me know your thoughts on this Nottingham Forest versus Brighton game. Brighton gutted for Brighton as they miss out on the FA Cup final due to a penalty shootout. But had chances in that game to score. They definitely did. They just couldn't take them. Injuries proved costly, I guess. Dennis Undav, shocking striker when he came on. If those chances fell to Danny Welbeck, or even Danny Welbeck, not the most prolific, I'm sure he would have put that away. But yeah, that's what proved costly in the end. But I think Brighton will be able to bounce back here. Nottingham Forest, they're down for me. They're down. If they are going to survive, they're going to have to win this one and cause an upset. I'm going for a 2-1 Brighton win away from home. They're going to bounce back. They're going to show their quality and show why they're in and then around the Europa League, Champions League spots. But Ed's gone for a 3-1 Brighton win, so he's really gone for them to bounce back. In that one, I need a drink, man. I need a drink bad. But in here, Paxton, I feel like we're going for the same scores in a lot of these right now. He's gone for a 2-1 Brighton win. Shay has gone for a 3-1 Nottingham Forest win. Shay, big up yourself if you pull this one out of the bag. You deserve 6 points, let alone 3, because that's massive if they're able to do it. 2-1, and Shay's also put his Southampton score in as well. And the final game, is Southampton versus Bournemouth. Southampton they showed a little something for me in that game against Arsenal. They are a decent team in terms of individuals, and I know this is a running thing with me and Paxton that we go on. He calls them Dead Hampton. I'm like, nah, man, they've always got good individual players. I like them. A decent stadium. They always seem to get results against Arsenal, whether it's at the Emirates or at the St. Mary's. But nah, man, Bournemouth are going to want to bounce back. Bournemouth certainly are. But if Southampton are going to have a fight, they're going to need to win. If they're going to have any chance of staying up, they're going to need to win. In this one, a draw's not enough. I'm going to go for a 3-2 Southampton win. And Edmund's gone for a 3-2 Bournemouth win. I've switched it around. So I was going to say swapped and switched at the same time. Swatched him around. Look at that. He's gone for the Dead Hampton, and the news isn't going to back them. He's gone for a Bournemouth 1-0 win. But I'm going for a 3-2 Southampton one. I just think maybe they'll have a bit of a high after the Arsenal game. They do tend to perform in big games, though. Let's not forget, they beat Manchester City this season, and it weren't that much of a weakened Manchester City team in the Carabao Cup. I think Southampton will draw 1-1 to Bournemouth, but Southampton are dead. You're all on it. You're all on this Southampton getting them off. The Grim Reapers of Southampton, you guys are. But guys, thank you so much for joining me for this preview show. We have run through all of them. It has been by myself today, but big up my brother Edmund each and every time for helping out, getting these banners sorted, getting his predictions in there, of course. And I really do appreciate him. There he is in the chat right there. Pax is dead against Bournemouth. Deep thinking. Exactly. Dead against Bourne. Oh, yeah, I get you. But guys, big up yourself each and every time in the chat. Really do thank you for your time. And get your predictions in right at the end of this video. Be within a chance. Ed, we're trying to catch up to him, trying to take him off the top. That's what we're trying to do. One of us needs to do it, people. One of us does, because I don't want to forfeit, but our forfeit's looking like it's coming anyway. But it looked like it was coming at this stage in the season last, didn't it? And who took it in the end? We'll wait and see. Big up yourself. Gonna love and leave you. I'll be back again tomorrow. Calling show. Definitely Arsenal. Will be Arsenal based. So for those who aren't really interested on that game or don't really have a dog in a fight, I'm sure you can still drop a like on it when you see it out there. But I hope you all have a good one. I'll catch you tomorrow, ladies and gents. We'll be back and listen to Yuvi. He said it right here. Good night and have a good day tomorrow, people. Love and leave you. God bless. Peace.